Welcome to Precalculus Concept 23B, Angles and Radian Measure. Today we're going to sort of talk about using degree measure. There's only two boxes, so let's get started. Here's the idea. I think many of you are familiar with the word degrees. You've heard it before, certainly in a geometry class, so it shouldn't be a big surprise to you. The symbol for degrees is denoted by this little tiny circle up here on the end. So for example, this is red 15 degrees. If I wanted 45 degrees, I would represent it by 45 with a little tiny circle. If I wanted, say, 98 degrees, it would be something like that. And the part that I want you to understand out of this particular box is nothing more than the angles that we're dealing with here in degrees. The way that we measure them is by the amount that we rotate around from a fixed location. So as an example, if I was going to draw an angle in standard position, let's say I wanted to draw 15 degrees. So I would lock down my initial ray and I would only rotate this much in a positive counterclockwise direction and say theta is equal to 15 degrees. That's how we measure an angle. It's one way to measure an angle. If I wanted 45 degrees, I'll do this one in red for you. I would lock down my initial side and I would draw an angle that represented a rotation of 45 degrees. So there's a theta that's equal to 45 degrees. If I wanted 98 degrees, I'll do this one in blue for you. Again, I would lock down my initial side on the positive x-axis and I would rotate all the way up in a counterclockwise direction and say theta is equal to 98 degrees. Of course, if I went all the way around, one thing that we should all know is that if I rotate all the way around the circle, that would be an equivalent to an angle of 360 degrees. Hopefully that we all know that. So when we draw degrees in standard position, we want to make sure we include that arrow going in the right direction, rotating in the right direction. Remember, it's counterclockwise for positive angles and clockwise for negative angles. Box number 2 is all about classifying an angle by its degree measurement. And there are 4 ways that we can talk about angles as per their degree measurement. The first one is this word acute angles. So if I was going to draw an acute angle, I would draw any angle, of course, that is less than 90 degrees. So the way it would represent that is we would say that 0 degrees is less than your angle theta, which is less than 90 degrees. Anything that fits into this category and matching this sort of picture is what we're going to call acute angles. Right angles should be pretty straightforward. They are perpendicular to each other. It's an angle of 90 degrees. It's also considered as 1/4 of a rotation around the entire circle. So think of it as 1/4 of a rotation. So that is when theta is indeed equal to 90 degrees itself. Notice here that it's strictly less than, not equal to. An obtuse angle, it would be any angle, if this was in standard position here, theta, any angle that is more than 90 but less than 180. So this would be 90 degrees is less than theta, which is less than 180 degrees. That would be an obtuse angle. And then lastly, we could talk about a straight angle. Now notice that I would still draw the angle in standard position with the indication that I've gone exactly 180 degrees. So an angle measure of 180 degrees. So these are the 4 words that I want us to be able to use in class when we are describing certain types of angles. We have acute, right, obtuse, and straight.